So we are in the D mode. I've got it in the manual shift function here, so I'm able to use the paddles, and we'll take our little turn here and get an acceleration and see how she goes. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2022 Alfa Romeo Giulia in the Veloce trim package. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Alfa Romeo of downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Giulia. This one is available for sale. If you're interested, reach out to them. I'm also going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can browse. Let's get into the video. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 23 around town and then 31 on the highway, with power outputs being 280 horsepower and then 306 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of the Giulia. So first off, you guys will notice that we've got the really nice body lines on either side of the hood, but then the middle portion is flattened out, so it gives it a kind of like lower, sleeker type appearance. Now I've got the projector bulbs there for the headlights, and then you guys can see here at the LED accent light off to the side. I love the accenting with the grille down below. Notice we do have parking sensors integrated into that. We've got the signature Alfa Romeo logo and then front grille as well. And I think this car's aged very well because obviously they haven't changed the body style since this came out, and it still looks great to this day. Now coming on the side here, I've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 19-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And I love the design on the wheels. It kind of has that like clover type look, and that kind of relates to like the Quadrifoglio package because it has a clover on it. And notice we have got the red brake calipers on it. And if you take a closer look, you've got the silver trim on the top, and then it's kind of dark metallic gray just down below that. We have our Veloce badge here on the side, and here's our full side view of the car, which again looks really nice. So here is our key fob. We have our unlock, lock. We've got the remote start function and the opening here for the trunk, but you just have to press that twice and it pops all the way open, which is pretty cool. Now you guys can see we've got really good storage space here in the back. We'll just move the old license plate cover right there. And you guys can see just underneath. But yeah, storage space is great back here. And then lowering it down, super easy. Just throw it down, right? There you go. Now finishing things up here with the rear, notice we've got the Q4 badge because this one does have all-wheel drive. We've got the Giulia badge on the other side, Alfa Romeo logo there in the center, parking sensors here at the bottom with the diffuser and the exhaust tips. Just look how aggressive this looks from a rear end perspective. Definitely really nice, and there you go. Now here's the door panel in the rear. Notice we've got nice trim here, and then down below you're going to rest your arm, and look at the stitching. And then we've got the window control right there, some speakers here for the sound system, and here are these seats, which are just fantastic. You've got beautiful red leather here, perforated leather here down the center, and I'll pop in quickly. It's actually pretty easy to get in. There's legroom. Also headroom, and then you guys will notice we've got some vents back here. We've got heated seats as well as some USBs, and we have our own sunroof here in the back. That is pretty cool. That is not typical for this segment of sedans, so that's definitely a nice feature to have. And also notice we got the armrest cup holder situation. Let's head to the front. Now going over the front door panel here, you guys can see again, nice leather trim here, the stitching that goes throughout all of our window controls here with the mirror adjustments or door lock and unlock. And then you guys can see the mirrors. And then again, another speaker there for the sound system. And then notice it says Alfa Romeo right there. And then here are these seats. So you can see really nice red leather, again with the perforated leather all down the center. Really nice bolstering here on the sides. Got your power adjustments right there. And then you guys can see the beautiful pedals down below. We've got our light controls here at the top. We've got the column mounted paddle shifters, and there's our look before we pop in. So here is our steering wheel for the Giulia. We've got really nice leather all around the steering wheel. Notice we have perforated leather here where you're going to grab most often, so you get a little bit of a better grip. We have our volume and voice command controls, the Alfa Romeo logo there in the center with the stop start button just down here. We do have adaptive cruise control with steering assistance, and then you guys can see those gigantic paddle shifters. And then also we have our turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock, and that's all for the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. You can see we've got RPMs over there on the left side. On the right side we've got the speed, and then there in the center you have that digital screen right there, which definitely love the layout on that. And the other cool part about the screen is it does show you what drive mode you're in. So we have the DNA selector here with the Giulia. So the D is for like your dynamic driving, right? N is kind of like your normal everyday driving. And then the A, right, is what you're gonna do in days like this, I suppose, when it's, well, there's not snow here in downtown Salt Lake, but you know, not necessarily like the best driving conditions, if that makes sense. Now here is the center infotainment system. Now a big upgrade with the newer Giulias is you get a touchscreen infotainment system. The original Giulia did not come with this, but they still have the dial, so if you preferred like the dial use, you still have that functionality with the screen itself, so you guys can see I'm using the dial, but then I can just press it like a touchscreen and go to that functionality on it. And overall it's really easy to use. Notice we do have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, which is definitely a nice feature to have. And then as for the camera, we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines. It do turn with the steering wheel, which is great. And yeah, overall really easy to use infotainment system. Response time's great, and I'm glad that we have dual controls with this. I'm glad that we've got you know, analog controls and then also the touchscreen controls. Now I've got the hazard light button right there. We've got our dual zone climate controls just down below, and then analog controls for the heated seats and the heated steering wheel. And then you guys can see USB 12 volt here and then some extra storage. We have a couple of cup holders right here. We have the shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission with the manual shift function. Got our parking brake right here. Volume control off to the side, and then this is for the infotainment system. And then this is your drive mode, select again with the D, N, and A modes. And like I said, right, this is your sporty driving, this is kind of like your everyday driving, and then this is kind of like your weather driving, basically. Wireless phone charger, and you guys can see the storage space inside of the center console. Beautiful red leather here. And then you can see the storage space of the glove box, and notice the handle there on the glove box is very nice material-wise, and then you can see the material use right there as well. And then we do have a sunroof here for the front passengers. So almost the whole roof is a sunroof, basically, which is pretty interesting. And black headliner, as you guys can tell. It's dark! So here's our window sticker for this Giulia Veloce. You guys can see the base price before options are added. I love the paint color name, Volcano Black Metallic. But anyways, you guys can see the standard equipment here on this side. And then you guys can see the optional equipment. So the Veloce all-wheel drive package, $3,600. Definitely worth the money. I mean, first off, adding all-wheel drive, right, that's going to be an expense, but all the stuff that this gives you, you know, the sport seats and the cooler look, the limited slip differential, which is great for performance driving and all that, and the column-mounted paddle shifters, it's just a really good value. I'm surprised it's actually not more expensive considering everything. But anyways, you guys can see total MSRP $54,940. And that being said, let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. Also, look at the Alfa Romeo logo on the seat. Pretty cool. Anyways, let's set off. We are setting off here in the Giulia, and you guys know I'm a big fan of the setup of this particular type of Giulia, right? This is kind of what the what TI used to kind of be, is what this Veloce is now, where it's got, you know, kind of like sportier looks on the outside, and then it has the sportier looking interior, and then it's got the paddle shifters and all that fun stuff, and then the limited slip differential is definitely a huge positive, right? That's going to help out with grip when you're driving this in snow and stuff like that, but it's also just going to make it drive better overall. First off, interior's quiet, seat comfort's great. The bolstering's nice on these seats. It holds me in place really well, but it's not like restrictive or constrictive, I guess is a better way to, or better word to use. And yeah, these are definitely seats that I could sit in for a very long road trip. The auto stop start system is seamless as well, which is definitely another big positive. It's kind of what you want if you're going to have that system. Yeah, popping on you, I mean, you hear it and you feel a little bit, but it's not obnoxious or anything like that. And right now I'm in the N mode. I'm not going to do the A mode at all because, again, the roads are clear and everything. We don't have any, you know, crazy weather driving to do, but we will do the dynamic driving mode. Yeah, and driving's a little bit more. It's such a comfortable car. Yeah, going over little bumps and everything. You can definitely feel the suspension is tighter on this. So it doesn't quite float over things like, you know, like a super, you know, boat-like luxury car would do. but it's still very comfortable over everything. I wasn't sure what that was. Better safe than sorry. But yeah, it's very comfortable overall from a ride quality perspective. Like, it'd be a great daily driver. Gonna pop it over into the D mode and get back to you guys in a second. So we are in the D mode. I've got it in the manual shift function here, so I'm able to use the paddles, and we'll take our little turn here and get an acceleration and see how she goes. That punches hard. Wow. You know, I didn't expect this kind of acceleration. I mean, I've driven Giulias in the past, but like every single time I punch it, I don't expect that kind of acceleration to come out of a little 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's crazy. Grip is obviously great with the all-wheel drive system, but I will say this does drive like a rear-wheel drive car. You feel the push from the back, you don't feel a pull from the front. So it makes the driving dynamics much more exciting. The acceleration feels great also because of that. And yeah, definitely great. Now, from a sound perspective, right, doesn't have the cool sounds that the Quadrifoglio has, but this is way more practical from a price point perspective, obviously. But then also from a daily driver perspective as well, right? This is something that has all-wheel drive, right? Whereas the Quadrifoglio doesn't. Transmission's so responsive. Feels so cool to, you know, just bang off shifts with the paddle shifters as well. I think that Volvo thought I was trying to race him, so he just punched it. I'm just doing her car review here, okay? Give me some slack. First gear, it's smooth too. While moving, it just smoothly transitions into first gear. It nailed the transmission tuning with this. Love the feeling of the steering wheel too. So I guess summing things up here at the Giulia. First off, exterior wise, even though they haven't changed the styling in years, it still looks great. Interior with the new infotainment system and everything, really easy to use. It has everything you need and nothing that you don't need, honestly. And I don't know, I like the feeling of the interior here. And you know, the pricing, it's very affordable, especially considering today's market. Everything you're getting here for this luxury car. So if you want a fun, sporty, luxury car, then yeah, you got to check out the Giulia. And this new Veloce package is a very good value. If you're going to get the regular Giulia, you're not going to get a Quadrifoglio. This is the package I would get. It's got all the right stuff. And that's all. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Alfa Romeo here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Giulia. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in that next video.